as advertised. I told you we're going to get a chance to speak with Will Brinson, as we often do, CBS Sports NFL writer, and he's back here on Tiki and Tierney. And Will, I'm not sure if you, if you heard the remnants of the debate or the conversation, but Tiki's taking Cam at age 27 next season. I'm going to take Jameis Winston at age 22 next season. Who are you taking?
Oh, it's not even close, guys. I'm taking Cam, and I like Jameis. And I said Jameis was going to throw 30 picks this year, and that was probably wrong. I'm not so sure that if you're starting a franchise today, and I get that most people are going to end up saying Andrew Luck. I'm not so sure that Cam Newton isn't your guy.
Yeah.
Like anybody in the NFL. And I'm talking about long-term viability because we knew 2 years ago, and we knew a year ago, and we knew, before this season started that Cam Newton had, and he said it himself, and he wasn't wrong, had more potential than anyone in the entire NFL. But the growth that he showed as a pocket passer and mastering that offense and the way that he's developed as a quote-unquote traditional quarterback, I think is surprised. I would say it's even surprised Cam. I don't think that there's – I'm not saying that he's playing the position better than Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, but I think he's the most dangerous, versatile weapon in the NFL. And if you're building a team and you see the sort of rapid growth that Cam Newton's made in his first 5 years in the league, you can make a case that if you're starting a team and starting a franchise today, that Cam Newton's the first guy you take. So I'm definitely taking him over Jameis. But, look, Jameis has been really good, rebounded after a kind of a poor start, and has shown very nice game management skills and an ability to kind of bounce back from mistakes. Remember, he had that 4-pick game against the Panthers, and ever since then, the Bucs took a little bit off his plate, have tried to run the ball more effectively, and he's looked like a much better quarterback.
I'll tell you, it's interesting because everything you say about Cam is spot on, and I don't really disagree. It's personal preference, and I would have to really, before I would pull the trigger on that deal, really think about it again, to be fair. But I do think you kind of gloss over the situation that Jameis Winston was brought into. First overall pick, team won twice last season, really nothing there, an eroding fan base. He has invigorated the city, and he's not a dink and dunk guy. As you know, he throws the football downfield vertically. He takes shots. I don't know, man. I think Jameis Winston looks phenomenal.
No, he does. And look, part of my biggest concern with him was that if you go back and watch, his final season at Florida State, the tape from that, what you see is a guy who, when pressured, and I don't mean like under pressure at the end of games. I mean like when he's under pressure from defenses in the pocket, is willing to force plays, and I think the phrase Mike Mayock used is so perfect for it. He has no conscience, and I've just been surprised at his development in terms of his decision making and his. He's a very good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. He's very good, and I remember watching him play his freshman season for Florida State. Everybody watched him play, but I remember watching him early because he was lighting up NC State for like 40 points in the first half, and thinking, man, this kid's gonna be good down the road. And, he had a lot of ups and downs after that, but he has developed very, very nicely. And if you're Jason Light, who, by the way, deserves credit. I don't know if you've seen him jumping into his pool after the Bucs went at home, but I think he's pretty pumped about having to send lots of suits to the dry cleaner, but he deserves a lot of credit for the way he's built that team and gotten them turned around quickly. And Lovie Smith too. Lovie Smith. I think a lot of people were concerned about already trying to call for jobs in Tampa Bay, and it seems like patience may be the more prudent path here for the Buccaneers coaching staff.
I got to tell you, Will, there's a lot of quarterbacks, and you can even include Andy Dalton in this a little bit, even though he's on the edge of not being in that quote unquote young quarterback conversation that are actually very interesting right now. We saw the Jacksonville, Tennessee game with Mariota and Blake Bortles. Obviously, Tyrod Taylor, who's finally getting a chance to play. He's great with the deep ball to Sammy Watkins. Are we more healthy at quarterback than I think we want to give ourselves credit for?
Yeah, and it's weird because, Peyton Manning is breaking down and we're seeing the end of his run. Aaron Rodgers struggling lately a little bit, relative to, Aaron Rodgers, typical quarterback play. And yet we're seeing this development of these young guys. And I think when you look at, who's in charge of the game, or, whose hands is the game going to be in the next 5 to 10 years in terms of quarterback growth. And I think we're in a really good spot. Blake Bortles I mean, he's developed into, the pocket passer that Dave Caldwell wanted when he drafted him early in Jacksonville. I mean, if you're the Jaguars, you can say, all right, we're not going to be the team that maybe we thought we would be at one point, but maybe we were a year early. We've got our franchise quarterback. I think you look at Tennessee, Marcus Mariota, just the fourth quarterback in NFL history to have 250 yards passing and 100 yards rushing in a single game, and the only quarterback ever in NFL history to do that and have three passing touchdowns. He hadn't even been running that much this year. He's primarily been a guy who sits in the pocket and doesn't take off running, which is a good thing for his development. We see Derek Carr in Oakland, a little bit of a down game late yesterday, but he's played exceptionally this season. And Jameis, of course, and Cam. I think Andy Dalton's there too.
Yeah.
Andy Dalton's only 27. The future is bright for these quarterbacks.
Yeah, we're in a pretty good place. It's funny, the story was not really presented that way about a year or so ago, but I think you're right. It's Will Brinson, CBS Sports NFL writer. Will, who's coaching the Giants next season? Because it's not going to be Coughlin. Who is it?
Yeah, I mean, it can't be, right?
No.
You feel like it's so weird. I was thinking about this a few minutes ago, and it's so bizarre to see a Tom Coughlin team be so roller coastery. Because he's just, you think about him and you think about the coach, type of coach that he is, steady, disciplinarian. You expect these teams to not make the silly mistakes, and then you see them, late in games. It's wild. It's a New York market, but it's wild that a guy with 2 Super Bowls could be booted from New York or could end up, walking away. I feel like Tom Coughlin is too stubborn to walk away if he's not ready to walk away. I mean, it's just how he strikes me. So, maybe this can get contentious. That NFC East, because of how bad the NFC East is a disaster. Like, it's great that if you're coaching in it because you've got a shot. But it's bad if you're coaching in it because if you don't win it, the team goes like 5-11.
Yeah.
You're on the hot seat. And you see that with Chip Kelly too. That New York gig, just like I think San Diego. If anything were to happen there, you've got an older quarterback, but you've got a franchise quarterback under contract. And in New York, you got Odell Beckham. I mean, there's talent to build around. So I think it would be a highly coveted job.
It is. I mean, we all know that, but who's going to be coaching? Yeah. Give us names. We know it's a great job.
Yeah. What are the options?
Well, I mean, I think. I feel like with the New York job, because of the cachet that goes with it, you're out there looking for a home run hire. Mm-hmm. You're going to get somebody established. You're maybe not going after the hot young coordinator. I mean, is that the feel in New York?
I think you're right. I would agree.
Because my sense of it, whenever I think about, I don't like to go with retread coaches, and I tend to like to try and find a guy who's the up and coming coordinator. I mean, like I think a guy like Hugh Jackson, who had success. He had success in Oakland. Up until he traded for Carson Palmer, and when Al Davis passed and he was forced to make personnel decisions, and Carson Palmer almost got in the playoffs. If he hadn't been forced in that personnel role, I mean, I think we look at Hugh Jackson's performance quite differently. He's gotten a ton out of Andy Dalton. That offense has been fascinating. You see the development, A.J. Green, and, of course, the running game. I think Hugh Jackson's a name to watch. Kyle Shanahan was a name to watch. The Falcons went off a cliff and lost 5 straight.
Hey, Will, has the ship sailed on Cower? Is that officially out of port or no?
I mean, I think so. I mean, I don't know what the protocol for talking about CBS Cal on a CBS radio with a CBS writer.
Yeah, you got to tell us what you know.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, my personal take on it is that Bill Cowher is fantastic at his job at the NFL on CBS.
Yep.
And he seems like he's pretty happy with his job. Mm-hmm. And I think that we really, when it comes to any of these guys, Coach Cowher, John Gruden, we really underrate the difference in schedule and lifestyle between being a media member on a national broadcast and between being a head coach of an NFL team in terms of stress and workload. I mean, look, Cowher and Gruden work hard to prepare for their jobs. Of
course,
it's not the same as a 5-day turnaround to prep to prep for Chip Kelly's offense. Although maybe you need 3-day turnaround for that.
Yeah, sleeping in your office and things like that. It's hard to be a head coach. Will, we only got about a minute here, but you talk about Chip Kelly, and we know that he's not going anywhere. Jeffrey Lurie's not getting him pushing him out. Can they make the playoffs? They play the Bills, the Cardinals, the Redskins, and then finish up with the Giants, who may be out of it by then. I mean, can he do the improbable?
Absolutely. I don't think you ever. If you're in that NFC East, you're not giving up the ghost. I mean, look tonight, Redskins, Cowboys. The Eagles could be tied for first place. All we have to do is get a win for the Cowboys. If you're Philly, and you're looking at it like, man, this is totally wide open. I mean, we can't give up on the season. I think you see a very different offense with Sam Bradford in there. I mean, they're still out of sorts. The defense has been a little bit more impressive. But if I'm Chip Kelly, I'm still thinking about the playoffs. And once you get in, you get in. I mean,
There it is. Attaboy. Will Brinson, CBS Sports NFL writer. Will, we're against it. Thanks, pal. We'll keep reading you as always. You know that.
Always fun, guys. Take it easy.
Okay.